Hi, welcome to Prime Recap. During a vacation trip, Wednesday discovers that she may have been switched in the maternity ward and actually does not belong to the Addams family. Today we will recap the story of the 2021 movie, Addams Family 2. Wednesday prepares a bizarre and at the same time revolutionary experiment for her school's science fair. The girl intends to mix the DNA of humans and animals in order to give people some abilities that are intrinsic to other species. In order to honor their daughter's work, Mr. and Mrs. Addams show up at the school, along with Thing and Pugsley. The boy is frustrated to see one of the students' volcanoes in action and decides to show him how to make a real volcano. Meanwhile, the couple goes to watch Wednesday's speech, in which the girl promises to have developed the solution for getting rid of people's undesirable qualities. She uses her Uncle Fester as a guinea pig to make a demonstration. Unlike Socrates, her pet octopus, the man is unable to solve a simple magic cube. However, when Wednesday prepares a potion that contains Socrates' personality trait, Uncle Fester drinks this liquid and his brain is transformed, causing the man to be able to assemble the cube easily. Excited about their daughter's genius, Gomez and Morticia kiss to celebrate and look forward to the award ceremony. A hologram of Cyrus Strange, the sponsor of this year's National Science Fair, appears to congratulate the competitors. Wednesday is convinced that she will get the trophy. After all, her experiment, by far, was the most innovative. However, her expectations are completely dashed when the girl finds out that all the participants will be considered winners. Upon hearing this, the girl is furious, because she cannot understand how someone can be the winner of a competition where there is no loser. At the end of the award ceremony, Cyrus goes to talk to the girl and congratulates her on her research. The scientist says that Wednesday has a brilliant mind and asks her to share her research so that he can help develop it further in his lab. However, the young woman says that she cannot share her studies, as they are a family secret. In that instant, Pugsley finalizes the changes in the volcano and makes hot lava spread all over the place. In an attempt to undo the damage, Uncle Fester throws a bucket of water on the floor, causing a short circuit in the devices and destroying several students' research. Amidst the chaos, Gomez and Morticia dance passionately around the ballroom, feeling proud of their daughter. Days later, Wednesday is in her room planning a way to torment her brother and uses a voodoo doll to twist off the head of Pugsley. At that moment, Uncle Fester goes to visit the boy and gives him the book of conquests he has written. The man tells him that he had 3 first dates and described all his experiences and learnings in that book. Next, Grandma summons the whole family to attend dinner and Uncle Fester rushes to the table. While he is eating, Wednesday sends a message to her parents in which she informs them that she will not be attending the dinner because she wishes to spare herself from hearing praise about her performance at the science fair. This is already the 3rd dinner the girl has missed that week, and Gomez must find a solution to bring them back together. He proposes that the family spend 3 weeks living in the old Addams trailer. Lurch carries all the bags while Gomez presents his family's new quarters. Minutes later, Mr. Mustela shows up with some important news. The man says he represents a couple living in California and reports that evidence has recently surfaced that their daughter was switched in the maternity ward on the day she was born. According to him, after some research, the couple has reason to believe that Wednesday is their real daughter. Upon hearing this, Gomez and Morticia start laughing, believing that it was all a plan by the girl to get rid of the family trip. The lawyer informs him that he needs a DNA sample and Uncle Fester shows up with his late grandfather's fingers. After delivering one of those fingers to Mustela, Gomez and his wife go to finish the preparations for the trip. Just then, Wednesday shows up and asks who that guy was. When they realizes that the girl hasn't hired him, the couple gets scared and assures her that she doesn't have to worry about anything. Before leaving, Gomez and Morticia leave Grandmama in charge of taking care of the house. However, when they leave, the old lady soon begins to put the plan into practice to earn money during the family's absence. In addition to bringing the family closer together, Gomez's goal with this trip is for them to get to know the most obscure places in every corner of the country. While her father presents the entire route, Wednesday takes out her anger on her brother and tries to smother him with a pillow. At the request of his client, Mustela chases the Addams family on their journey and takes Pongo along for reinforcement. The family's first stop should be Salem, but when Uncle Fester spots a sign advertising Niagara Falls, his octopus instincts kick in and he takes the wheel. When Gomez goes to question his brother about the change of route, he discovers that a tentacle has been born in place of his left arm. Minutes later, the octopus man approaches his nephew and encourages him to apply the teachings in his book with 2 girls who are taking pictures nearby. Pugsley then walks toward the young women and throws himself on the ground, on the pretext that he has fallen to his knees for them. Faced with this extremely cheesy line, the duo begins to make fun of the boy, and Wednesday goes there to make her brother's situation even worse. She takes the Pugsley voodoo doll and makes him dance frantically in the crowd. She then throws the doll into the waterfall, causing the boy to fall into the water as well. Meanwhile, Gomez and Morticia spot the lawyer who went to their house and decide to run away with Wednesday. The family uses wooden barrels to jump into the waterfall and Uncle Fester goes after them, taking Mustela along. Meanwhile, at the Addams family home, Grandmama is throwing a great party and raise money with the tickets. The guests have paid $500 to have a bizarre and unforgettable evening in America's most haunted mansion. During the night, the family makes camp in the middle of the forest to rest. Uncle Fester then tells the story of the day Wednesday was born. He says that the girl was completely silent in the hospital, even when all the other babies started crying. The man was looking for the bathroom when he accidentally walked into the maternity ward. At that moment, the children started screaming, and in order to calm them down, Uncle Fester had to nurse all the babies at the same time. When they fell asleep, the man put them back in their respective cribs, or at least he believes he did. Upon hearing this story for the first time, the couple despairs and says that they need to take the kitten for a walk. As they walk through the forest, Morticia comes to the conclusion that the lawyer may be right in saying that Wednesday was changed the night she was born. What the couple didn't realize was that Wednesday was hanging from a tree, along with the bats, listening to their entire conversation. The next morning, the family goes to the beach and Wednesday uses her knowledge of meteorology to produce a rain cloud above her head, when she is hit by a frisbee that was accidentally thrown in her direction. The young woman decides to take revenge and causes the dark cloud to start chasing the boys. Meanwhile, Morticia and Gomez enjoy some sunbathing and Wednesday builds a sand guillotine to remove her brother's head, using money as bait. Uncle Fester, with his octopus arm, decides to go for a swim and panics all the bathers by wearing his shark costume. When all the people are fleeing the water, their cousin It shows up. Gomez invites him to spend a few days with them during their trip. The family then goes back to the trailer, and after an all-night drive, Thing manages to guide them to Texas. Suddenly, in the middle of the desert, Pongo and Mustela appear on a motorcycle. Seeing the lawyer chasing his family, Gomez orders his butler to find a way to get rid of the man. With Pongo's help, Mustela manages to climb onto the trailer, but when he is punched by Lurch he ends up being thrown back and they both crash into a mountain of manure. In order to find a hiding place, Gomez takes control of the steering wheel and takes a shortcut on the road. The family enters a hotel, where a music contest is taking place. Afraid that Wednesday will be found, her father signs her up for the competition, leaving the young woman totally enraged. Upon entering the dressing room, she is greeted by one of her competitors. The girl asks what her talent is and Wednesday reveals her ability to read thoughts, leaving Peggy horrified. Minutes later, the rest of the family enters the place to see Wednesday's presentation. The girl is looking completely different, and when Mustela and Pongo enter the hall, neither of them can recognize her. However, after being prevented several times from leaving the stage, the young woman loses her temper and throws a knife to cut the ropes, causing several cans of paint to be dropped on her competitors. At this point, the lawyer recognizes her and walks towards the girl. In order to distract him, Gomez claims that Mustela is a great talent scout, and the parents who were present at the event jump on him to get his attention. Morticia calls her butler to rescue Wednesday from the mess, and it is at this instant that Lurch and Pongo meet. Immediately, the family gets into the trailer and manages to escape once again. Furious, Wednesday demands to know who is that man who appeared looking for her, and her father refuses to tell her the truth. Thus, the girl realizes that she will have to find out everything on her own. The trip continues and the family stops at the Grand Canyon. At the very first stop, Uncle Fester begins to feel strange. Suddenly, a large amount of black paint starts to come out of his pants and he runs to the bathroom. Once there, his entire body begins to change and new tentacles appear. While the couple and their children contemplate the beautiful view of the canyon, a plane lands next to them and cousin It says goodbye. When the hairy little monster leaves, Morticia delivers a gift to her daughter. Inside the small wooden coffin, there is a necklace that has passed through several generations of her family and now belongs to Wednesday. Within minutes, Pugsley manages to plant bombs everywhere and orchestrates a huge explosion, destroying a beautiful moment between mother and daughter. After causing all that chaos, the family leaves to embark on a new adventure. While looking at the beautiful necklace she got from her mother, Wednesday manages to capture Mustela with her trap. The lawyer has been abandoned by Pongo and must continue his pursuit alone. While hanging on the edge of a cliff, he receives a call from Cyrus Strange and Wednesday answers. The man tells how he and his wife were separated from their real daughter the night she was born and says he never gave up looking for her. Then, the day he saw Wednesday on the stage of the science fair, Cyrus knew that she was his real daughter. After investigating, he discovered that the girl was born on the same day and in the same hospital where his wife gave birth. He invites the girl to pay a visit to his house and discovers that Mr. Mustela has been thrown off the cliff. That night, while all her family members are asleep, Wednesday tries to pluck a hair from her father's mustache and nose, but is unsuccessful. After a few attempts, she manages to get a strand of hair from his head and uses this material to make a DNA test. At the end of the experiment, the test results are negative and Wednesday is sure that she does not belong to the Addams family, so the young woman decides to go away to find her real parents, and Lurch accompanies her on this journey. When she goes to wake up her daughter the next morning, Morticia finds Pugsley tied up in her bed and spots the note left by Wednesday. In her letter, the young woman clarifies that she found out the whole truth and went in search of her real family. The pair wander aimlessly through the desert and spot a group of bikers approaching. The gang parks at a bar and Wednesday hatches a plan to get them to take them to their destination. She orders Lurch to attack those guys, but instead Frankenstein demonstrates all his talent with the piano, arousing the excitement of all the bar patrons. As a thank you for the fantastic evening, bikers decide to give Wednesday and her friend a ride, taking them straight to Sausalito, California. Upon arriving at the mansion, the pair is greeted by Cyrus and his wife, Ingrid. Then Ophelia, the little girl who switched places with Wednesday in the maternity ward, appears. Upon seeing them, Wednesday suspects that something is wrong, but as soon as she arrives at the lab, her suspicions disappears. Cyrus allows the young woman to take a DNA test to verify that they are, in fact, related, and Wednesday is relieved when the test gives a positive result. Just then, the Addams family arrives at the mansion and the girl tries to contain her joy at seeing them. Uncle Fester keeps feeling worse and says that he will stay a few more minutes in the trailer. When the doorbell rings, the couple is surprised to be answered by Lurch, and Gomez is furious to realize that Wednesday's supposed biological father is the same guy who sponsored the science fair she attended. The girl then shows that the results conclusively indicate that Cyrus is her father. Ophelia is right there listening to the whole conversation while rolling in a mud puddle. Upon seeing her, Pugsley's little sleeping heart comes alive again and the boy feels completely smitten. Despite having discovered the truth, Wednesday doesn't feel ready to say goodbye to her old family and asks Cyrus permission for the Addams to spend the night at the mansion. Immediately, the man accepts the request and orders Lurch to show them the guest room. While walking through the halls, Gomez and Morticia spot several pictures of Wednesday and Cyrus together and realize that they already consider themselves family, even though they have only known each other for a few hours. Curious to meet Pugsley, Ophelia invites him to her room and they both delight in a giant tower of donuts. Suddenly, the girl turns into a pig and the boy goes into despair. Morticia still can't believe that Wednesday is not her biological daughter and is convinced that Cyrus is lying. But she doesn't know how to prove her theory. Minutes later, Pugsley shows up with Ingrid and Ophelia and tells his parents that he believes they are not human. At this point, Cyrus reveals himself and says that these are animals that he has mixed with human traits, but for some reason, over time, these creatures always revert to their original form. So he faked the DNA test to pass himself off as Wednesday's father, since the girl's experiment is much more advanced than his. Upon discovering the whole truth, Gomez draws his sword and runs toward his enemy, but faints when he is surprised by a curtain of sleeping gas. Later, the man shows up at the lab, where Wednesday was working on her research. She points out all the reasons why her father could not achieve complete success in his experiment. Faced with the complete formula for joining the DNA of humans and animals, Cyrus plans to test it on the other members of the Addams family and use them as guinea pigs. Seeing her family members trapped in tubes, the young woman realizes that she has been wrong about Cyrus and discovers that, for all this time, he only wanted to use her, while Wednesday tries to convince the mad scientist to let her family go. Pugsley plans to blow up the tube he is trapped in to try to escape. However, the glass is still intact and he is the only one affected by the explosion. When the green goo begins to rise, Wednesday rebels against Cyrus. However, the man ignores her and begins the transformation procedure. To stop that man, Wednesday enlists Lurch's help, but Cyrus still has a card up his sleeve. The man orders Pongo to attack them. However, he gets a big surprise when he discovers that his bodyguard is a longtime friend of Lurch. The two were mental institution companions and shared the same cell before Lurch was adopted by the Addams family. Pongo then rebels against his boss and uses his body as a ball to play soccer with his former roommate. The brute then throws Cyrus into the tubes, freeing Wednesday's parents. As a result, the scientist has his body completely covered by the green goo and turns into a terrifying monster. Just as the creature was about to destroy the entire Addams family, Uncle Fester appears. His body has just completed its transformation and he uses his tentacles to hurl the enemy away. However, Cyrus does not give up and attacks him again. To prevent Pugsley from being hit, Ophelia jumps on top of him and ends up sliding down until her body is also enveloped in the goo. Since he is losing the battle, Uncle Fester decides to pull Cyrus into the water, so he can get the upper hand in the duel. However, the glass walls of the tank break and the two monsters are dragged out of the mansion. Cyrus suffers a deadly fall, but Uncle Fester uses his tentacles to grab hold and scale the walls to return to the lab. Seeing her uncle about to lose his life, Wednesday feels guilty. She looks at her necklace and asks what is that red liquid inside. Her mother then reveals that this is a sample that contains the blood of every single member of the Addams family, including that of Wednesday and Fester. Upon hearing this, the girl uses that DNA cocktail to develop a compound that can bring her uncle back to normal. He regains his human form, but gives no sign of life. When everyone believed they had lost a family member, the man stands up and is excited that he has won the battle. Due to the green goo, Ophelia becomes human again and Pugsley is extremely happy to see her alive. Wednesday apologizes to her parents for abandoning them and states that she will return home with her family. When they arrive at the mansion, they discover that Grandmama has been giving parties every day since the beginning of the trip. The old lady tries to explain herself when she finds out that she was caught in the act, but Gomez and Morticia are happy, believing that this is a welcome party. Minutes later, it shows up and gives a great show to cheer up the crowd. After all she has been through, Wednesday is still puzzled by the fact that the DNA test pointed out that Gomez is not her father. Upon questioning him, the young woman discovers that the explanation for the test being negative is because her father lost his hair some years ago and wears a wig to disguise the loss. Gomez is extremely happy that his plan worked. As expected, that trip did indeed help bring their family closer together. Now he begins to plan his next vacation. This time, the man plans to take a trip around the world. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.